This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim pass the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, this team sometimes can send you going crazy. You know what I mean? They escaped. You could see the expression all over Julius Randle's face at the end. Like, he was smiling, but you could tell the smile said, I'm glad to get out of this one. You know what I mean? Phew. And if it wasn't for the San Antonio Spurs getting that 5-second call, who knows what could have happened, man. You know, but hey, the Knicks get the win. They get the win. And it seems like the San Antonio, this specific Spurs team is just one that the Knicks do not match up with well. You know what I mean? They just don't match up well. They pull out the win, but it was a tough one. 38 points from Jalen Brunson, a career high for Jalen Brunson in the Garden. Tony, what's going on with you, my brother? How you feeling, man? How you feeling about this game, this one right here?
Yeah. Yo, Black, it's time. Shout out to the chat. Before I go, I just want to give a happy birthday shout out to DJ Shuttle, all aboard.
Shout out, my man,
Happy
DJ
birthday,
Shuttle.
bro. Enjoy. You got the win on your birthday. And a couple of streams ago, what we were saying, a win's a win. You know, we don't care if it's an ugly win. You know, so
right?
We got our ugly win. But there's a lot of things to, they got to fix.
Yeah, man.
This game, playing like this against another team, we may not come out with the victory at the end.
Right.
Free throws was important. Like I said off stream, I said felt like Pops did Tibbs a favor. You know what I mean? They all both laughing and joking at the end.
Yeah, you know one of the reasons that Pop can laugh, at least just from my experience, one of the reasons that he can laugh is because there's no expectations on his team. You know what I mean? So when you don't have any expectations, you take a loss, the players make some boneheaded mistakes. Sohan, didn't pay attention to the 5 count, stuff like that. You can laugh. Now in the locker room, he ain't gonna laugh, but you can laugh with the other coaches, because the stakes aren't high for him right now. You know what I mean? When those stakes get high, I don't know if it would be. You know what I'm saying? But I know what you're saying. You seen them afterwards because I peeped it too. They sitting there clapping hands, laughing. You know what I mean?
Even a couple of the players came up to him and looked like they said, "Thanks, man. Appreciate it."
I mean, I seen the last time they played, Greg Popovich and Julius Randle, seemed to have a good, a decent little relationship there. You know what I mean? And, he came up to him and said whatever to him. And now you seen him say something to Brunson today. Greg Popovich better not be poaching our players, man. You know what I mean? Got to watch Greg Popovich. Better not be poaching our players,
Just trying to give Josh some controversial content, you know what I mean?
But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what it is with the Spurs, if it's the ball movement, if it's the young bodies, the young legs, the energy that they have, but the Knicks don't seem to match up well with this particular team. They got beat, pretty good in the first game, and while the Knicks went up 13, I think is maybe the most the Knicks had a lead, they just couldn't hold it. The Spurs just continued to stick around all night long. They continued to stick around, and the Knicks was able to escape with a 3-point victory. A 3-point victory. Bad foul free throw shooting from the Knicks. They only shot 65.4% from the free throw line tonight. And, I mean, even in the end, Evan Fournier, obviously he only played like 7 minutes up to that point. We knocked down the first free throw. Clyde scared me on the first free throw. You know what I mean? As soon as Evan Fournier let it go, he said, oops. I'm like, what you saying oops for? Like, you're giving me a heart attack. And then he goes ahead and misses the second free throw. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
I mean, you just made a great point about Fournier and his 7 minutes. And then, the other point is the bench in general. We're quickly not on that bench, Obi not returning yet. The bench got killed tonight.
Yeah.
Like, as far as the bench matchup.
Yeah.
I think they said they almost had, I don't know if they said almost had 50 or almost had 60. I think they said the bench almost had 60.
Yeah, I think it, or something like that. I know at one point
so
the bench had
over 50.
Yeah, the bench had 50 something points. San Antonio's bench.
Yeah. So I mean, that is really crushing. You know what I mean? And then you talk about Fournier playing 7 minutes, which means that's a starter playing the rest. You know what I mean? The rest of those minutes, whomever it is. So Grimes, I'm assuming, or quickly, whatever. But guys are exhausted.
Right. And we talked about this in the game preview today, the bench, because the last game, the Spurs bench outscored the Knicks 35-20. Right. It's even worse tonight, but the Knicks bench hasn't been good scoring wise in a while. Part of it is because, you got players out. So you got Emmanuel quickly in that starting lineup. Deuce, you're not expecting him to score anyway, but he was in the starting lineup. Obviously, Obi Toppin isn't there, but they're not scoring the ball, especially since Tibbs cut it down to a 9-man rotation. And now, collectively, the bench is only playing 12 minutes per game. You know what I mean? And it's hard to say. Is it because Tibbs, is the bench not good enough? Right? And that's the reason why he's only playing them 12 minutes. Or does he just not trust them? Like, what is the reason they're only playing 12 minutes, I guess, per game?
I mean, part of the reason I'm gonna say is because Obi's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Brunson missed time. RJ's out. So even the guys that are being promoted, if you will, into the second unit aren't getting the splits that normally would occur if everybody was whole, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Randall's minutes are up. I feel like Grimes' minutes is definitely up. They're probably the most out of anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Quickly's minutes was up. But nobody's just taking the place of minutes on the bench. So not only is the bench depleted, but they're playing limited minutes. I think it goes hand in hand. Why the benches and nobody, who's the scorer off the bench? Hartenstein at this point. Hartenstein did pretty good in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
He giving us some points. But we're not relying on Sims for points. It's like everything he gets is a bonus. I don't think Rose is still hurt. He didn't play today. Deuce, you're not expecting points from him. Anything you get is a bonus. I mean, you hope to. That's one thing that I'm hoping for from him is to contribute more offensively. He's got to start knocking down his shots. He had a couple of good games where he started, hitting them, but overall, I think his shooting is, pretty poor. So yeah, somebody's got to step up. Nobody's stepping up in the absence of Quickly.
Yeah, but see, I'm just wondering, do we have? I don't know if we have. The guys that can step up. I think that's part of the. I think that's part of the problem.
I mean, see, I don't want to say Deuce should get less minutes than quickly than like Fournier every night, but theoretically, yeah, you know what I mean. I think he should be used situationally for defensive purposes just as much as Fournier should be used situationally for offensive purposes. So maybe that should be a better split in the minutes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, who else is going to score?
Yeah,
Besides, who that I'm
I
not
know.
even going to talk about no more because
Right, because
like,
because you already know. You already know
yeah.
the answer to
So
that. The Spurs bench tonight scored 61 points. 61 points, 15 rebounds, 11 assists. They did have 7 turnovers, but 61 points from the Spurs bench tonight. The Knicks bench, let me get those numbers up here really quick. The Knicks bench tonight had 21 points, 12 rebounds, and just 1 assist. They just don't have the firepower on the bench with Emmanuel quickly in the starting lineup. The Knicks just don't have that kind of firepower on the bench, and even with Evan Fournier out
and the
there.
crazy thing is, I'm sorry, but Quickly's been playing better as a starter than he has off the bench.
Yeah.
Like if he could give us that production off the bench, that would be phenomenal.
Right. And the thing with the thing with Evan Fournier out there though is he's the kind of player that doesn't really create for himself. You know what I mean? He's going to, he can do handoffs and things like that with Julius Randle. Someone's going to penetrate and kick it to him to shoot it. He's going to slash a little bit, but he's not going to do too much creating off the dribble. And so when you look at the second unit, who's creating for Fournier?
And even that makes the point that we made earlier make even more sense. Why not just start Fournier while Barrett's out?
Right.
And do it that way.
Right.
Number one, he's already started, like you've been saying all last year.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Started the season in the starting unit. You have guys that can create for him.
Yep.
Randall and he have already some type of chemistry with the with the little 2-man game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that makes the most sense. And then Quickly can hopefully give us that same production off the bench.
Yeah. Nah, I agree with you. I definitely agree. I don't know if he's afraid that the defense is going to take a hit or what, but I mean, if the Knicks continue to win basketball games, people aren't going to be able to argue that much if they continue to win games. But if your starters begin to wear down, then you're going to start losing games because they're going to be too tired. Let me get to a phone call. Yeah. Caller, you live, man. Tell me your name and where you from.
Sam, it's Spree. What's up, man?
What's going on, Spree? How you feeling, brother?
Oh, man. Good win. Before I start, I just want to say thoughts and prayers with Cornerstone Kev and his family. Thinking of you, Cornerstone.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to just say with Brunson to the game, where did he learn that fake pivot and stop and go move? Where did he learn that?
I mean, I think just training, man. Brunson, all of his life, has heard from others that he's not fast enough, not quick enough, can't jump, et cetera, and probably experienced it because he's like, yeah, they're probably right. I can't do it, so I got to figure out other ways to score. And, he's been working on, since he was little, like he said, he's been working on ways to score, crafty ways to be able to score. So I think, it's just skills that he's developed and figuring out how do I capitalize on my footwork? How do I actually capitalize on my size? You know what I mean? And that's why you see all of those little pump fakes, head fakes, shoulder shakes, slip underneath and flip it up. All those little things right there is how he capitalizes on his size, actually, and his speed, the speed or lack thereof, if you want to say. He has just enough.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's crafty. He's just. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's part of the like. Obviously, he finishes. His efficiency is incredible, but like just the stuff that sets it up, I
Right.
think that's what confuses people. That's why he's able to just blow by people so
Mm-hmm.
much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I give him credit, man. It's impressive.
It
It's
is.
impressive.
It
You don't
is.
see many guys in the NBA. You got Harden, yeah, he can do that stuff, but you don't have many guys in the NBA with that type of skill work and footwork. I give him credit. Um, Julius, look, he didn't shoot it well. He gave me 4 blocks. He gave me 3 steals. The chase down block, he looked like LeBron James. I mean, that
Mm-hmm.
was incredible effort. He's playing with tremendous effort. I'm proud of him. Question for you on
5
Grimes.
turnovers tonight
So,
for him,
like,
though. He did have 5 turnovers
yeah, it
tonight.
was a little high. It was
Yeah.
high. Couple forced ones, but
Mm-hmm.
So Quentin Grimes, whenever they post up Jalen and Julius, I've noticed that Grimes is cutting more on the weak side.
Right.
Have you noticed that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he
I
does
like
he does
that.
a lot of cutting and slashing, and Randall and Brunson both find him frequently cutting to the basket, slicing to the basket. Yeah.
I think he's the best cutter on the team to do it because he can make that quick hockey pass. Like if he doesn't put it up,
Mm-hmm.
so I like that. I mean,
Matter of
we always
fact,
usually get something good when he cuts.
yeah, you seen it against Phoenix the other night. He cut to the basket. Julius Randle found him, and then he dipped it off to Mitchell Robinson, I think it was, for a dunk.
Yeah,
I think he did it
Yeah.
tonight too.
Did he?
And
I might have
what
missed
up,
that
Spree?
one.
Oh, what's up, man? Yeah, man. I love Grimes, man. I love his quick. He just everything is quick. He's just so smart. Even the closeout at the end of the game. Look,
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna make mistakes. There's so many good scorers in the league. I know there's been a couple games with Harden and stuff, but I love Grimes. And one last thing with Quickly, do you think his better play, Sim and Tony Crow? Do you think it's simply a matter of just better rhythm with the more minutes? Because you said it, Tony, before I even got on. He's playing way better than right now than I've seen him play in a while.
I mean, I do. I think it's. I mean, how many minutes did he play tonight, Manuel? Quickly, 45 minutes. He played 45 minutes tonight.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Dang, I didn't even realize it was 45.
Wow. 45 minutes for IQ tonight, but I think that is a lot of minutes, man. 45 minutes for IQ, 40 for Jalen Brunson, 41 for Julius Randle, 37 for Quentin Grimes. Mitchell Robinson struggled all night long, in foul trouble tonight. 13 minutes for Mitchell Robinson. Hartenstein 19, McBride 10, Fournier 11, and Jericho Sims had 22. But I think with Quickly, by the way, Quickly had 15 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists tonight. I think he's learned, last year, because the Knicks needed his scoring, the Knicks struggled so much scoring. I think it was kind of like, do what you do. Whatever you got to do. We need that production. This year, the Knicks can score better. And so they're like, we need you to be in more control.
Now it's about fundamentals.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's about those fundamentals and being in control. And I think he's, in the beginning of the season, he struggled with it a little bit because, it's hard to break old habits. And so he had to work on breaking those habits, learning how to play in more control, and so now he's playing with better control and playing within the offense and what it is the Knicks are trying to do, and then playing in a lineup with Randall and Jalen Brunson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta be,
It kind of reels him.
Yeah.
Reels him in a little bit
Right.
when he's playing with the higher level players.
Right. Exactly. You know what I mean? It brings him in. You know what I mean? And you're gonna have guys out there that's gonna tell you like, "Yo, chill out, calm down. What are you doing?" In the second unit, who's telling IQ that? Nobody.
Nobody except Rose the first year.
Except Rose, and we thought even Rose at the beginning of this season because we were talking about that IQ needed Rose out there, but now Rose ain't playing.
Rose ain't playing here. He's not Derrick Rose right now, but like Derrick Rose in the first year, and the reason that second unit was special, it kind of reeled IQ and let him be him, but he threw some crazy ones up. But I agree with you. Maybe that is true. I mean, yes, it's the more minutes, but I think that's a good point, man. When he's playing with Brunson and Randall, maybe he is more like just fluid and just making better decisions, and it's just easier for him. I don't know, man, because
Not
you
for
read
nothing
the
though.
box score. He got you 5 assists.
Yeah.
Don't discredit his play with RJ as well. Because RJ plays a lot of minutes with that second unit with the 9-man rotation. So he I think his improvement has been, you know what I mean, consistent as of late. You know what I mean, like prior to RJ going out. But yeah, it's been at its peak these last what 6 games or so.
Yeah. IQ's been playing. He's been playing some good basketball lately. You know what I mean? And hopefully it continues, and it'll. Now, when he goes back to the bench, when RJ gets back and he goes back to the bench, his role is going to change a little bit, and he's going to be asked to be more of a scorer.
Mm-hmm.
Just like
I'm proud of him.
No doubt. Just like when Brunson was out, he was asked to be more of a scorer. He dropped 36 points in one of those games, and then he had 25, I think it was, or something like that. So his role, and that's who IQ is. I think the type of player he is, his role will change based on the lineups that he's with, so on and so forth. And the good thing about IQ is I think he's the type of player that can, that can kind of be a chameleon, change his colors every once in a while if he has to. You know what I mean?
I don't think we should trade him, Sim. I don't think we should trade IQ.
I don't either.
I'm starting to like what I see.
I've always wanted the Knicks to. I mean, I've always been willing to trade him if they had to get a star, but I wasn't always like, we need to be shopping him. I like what IQ brings, but if the Knicks are gonna get a guy, it's gonna be some players that have to end up going. You know what I mean? And IQ is probably. Here's the thing with IQ that I think other teams would like about him. He's obviously he has talent, and he has a huge upside. And you know what else? He's marketable. You know what I mean?
Of course.
He's marketable. Just the name IQ, you got IQ. He has a great personality. You know what I'm saying? Kids love him. Like, he's a marketable guy. So
2 more things.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
He's a student of the game.
I know. Trust me. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Go ahead, Tony.
Go ahead, Tony. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, student of the game and also his work ethic. You know what I mean? Like, those 2 things as well.
Yeah. He definitely he I see repping old school put check. I don't know if he's talking about IQ, but he checks a lot of boxes, and what a team would be looking at for a player. You know what I mean? And
he's definitely a legit NBA player. Like, he definitely has a skill set that any team could use. My frustration with him is just when he can go crazy, but you need guys on your team like that, and he's growing. He's growing a little bit, so I'm proud of him.
Yeah.
So, one last thing: the Brunson deal was nobody in the offseason. I had to deal with this. You had to deal with this. You got calls saying he got overpaid. I don't think you're getting any complaints anymore about Jalen Brunson's contract. And I'm sad I can't go to the DC game with you another time, Sim, but have fun. Okay. And we're going to beat the Wizards when you're there, man. All right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Appreciate you, Spree.
Take care, Tony. Take care, Sim.
Later.
Peace.
Yeah. I don't think there's any question whatsoever, when talking about Jalen Brunson in that contract. In the beginning, there was definitely some questions. You could throw those questions out the window. You know what I mean? Because he's showing and proving that he's definitely worth that money. Easily worth that money. You know what I mean? Easily. The Knicks tonight, just running down the box score. I'm not sure if I did the box score. 38 points for Jalen Brunson, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. All right, Emmanuel Quickly, as we just mentioned, 15 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Julius Randle, 25 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 4 blocks, but he also had 5 turnovers. Shot 34% from the field and 12.5% from the three-point line. Not a great shooting night for Julius Randle. All right, 6 for 11 from the free throw line, but, he put up good numbers in the Knicks win. Quentin Grimes, 14 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals. The bench, and like we said, the bench, ladies and gentlemen, 21 points or something like that for the Knicks bench tonight. 8 from Isaiah Hartenstein, 8 points, 5 rebounds for Isaiah Hartenstein. Miles McBride, 3 points. Evan Fournier, 6 points. Jericho Sims, 4 points and 7 rebounds. Right, that's the Knicks bench tonight. Man, when I look at those minutes, IQ played the most minutes of everybody because he's going to play with the second unit. He's playing with the starters. Plus, he's a good defender. 45 minutes for IQ. Julie, yeah.
Sam, is Rose hurt still?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. He's
because
still hurt.
You made a great point when you asked who's going to get Fournier the ball in that second unit, and then now I'm listening to you run off the bench or whatever, and I'm just like who's going to get anybody the ball in that second unit?
Exactly. Right.
You know what I mean?
Getting, yeah.
Because Deuce is not the traditional point guard that is a facilitator and break down the defense and find an open man.
Right.
So, I mean, Hartenstein on his best days, on his good days, maybe we start running some offense through him. We saw that early in the year, and then we haven't.
Right.
I'm wondering why on that as well.
Yeah, I think part of it though is with Emmanuel quickly in the starting unit. I mean, who do you have that's even gonna Evan Fournier? But who else is even gonna cut to the basket? Jericho Sims ain't doing that much cutting like that,
or even be a threat for that man to not leave them, or you know what I mean.
Exactly,
right.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Because I think that's a good idea to run it through Hartenstein, but I don't think you have enough cutters.
You need one more guy. I'm just
You do. Hey, no lies. I mean, he could be a guy that does cut off the wing. Isaiah Hartenstein got the ball at the mid post or the top of the key, and then Cam cutting from the baseline or cutting from the wing or whatever it is. It could work. I'm
gonna stop. I'm happy because we won, so I could be playful tonight. Like, you know what I mean? Pause.
It could work. The San Antonio Spurs, their bench did the work tonight. Josh Richardson, 20 points. Zach Collins, 16 points. Doug McDermott had 15 points. All right, and then their starting unit, I mean, Romeo Langford. Last time we played him, he had 23 points. He had 7 tonight. Jacob Pertl, 6 points, 8 rebounds. I think he was like 8 points, 12 rebounds the last time we played him. Trey Jones had 14 points and 6 assists tonight. The only person in the starting lineup to really do work is Keldon Johnson. 26.7 rebounds and 2 assists. He had 30 points the last time we played him. You know what I mean? It was really the Spurs bench that went to work all night long. And the Knicks just don't have a bench that can match it right now.
I felt like Richardson was auditioning for us. Make a trade for me. I swear I felt that way. It's been in the air, speculated in the past. So, and we've been talking about, small moves.
So the Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, are on a 3-game win streak. All right. So, listen, they 8 in a row, lost 5 in a row. Now they're back to a 3-game win streak. They play the Toronto Raptors. Hate playing the Raptors, man. I just don't like to play the Raptors, but hopefully the Knicks are on their get backs and ready to, try to take the Raptors out. I think they play in Toronto, if I'm not mistaken. I have to check it. I have to check and make sure, but I think it is in Toronto. But the Knicks, right now they are in the standings. The Knicks are 21-18. They move back into the 6th seed over top of the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers are also 21-18, but of course the Knicks won head-to-head versus the Pacers. The Knicks are currently 3 games behind the Philadelphia 76ers for that 5th seed. And when you're looking at, I'm going to tell you what, everyone, talks about the 6th seed and just making the 6th seed because that gets you in the playoffs. You don't have to worry about the play-in. But I want the 5th seed. And that's not going to be easy to get. But I want the 5th seed because when you look at the 6th, 7th, and 8th seed, you're playing either Boston, Milwaukee, or Brooklyn.
Yeah, as I said, avoid Brooklyn.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly, man. Brooklyn right now is what? 25-13. They were just on a long 11-game win streak or something like that. They're currently 1 game behind the Boston Celtics for first place in the Eastern Conference. They're 25-13. The Bucks are also 25-13. The Boston Celtics are 26-12. But I don't want to play either one of those 3 in the first round. Really. I mean, I want to get into the playoffs. However, we get into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I would rather get into that 5th seed where we can match up against a Cleveland or a Philadelphia.
Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to match up against one of those 3, what's your preference of order?
I'd probably match up with Boston first.
Okay.
Milwaukee, then Brooklyn.
Wow. Brooklyn 3rd. Interesting.
Yeah. I don't like playing against KD, man. I just don't see that the Knicks have any kind of answers for KD at all. I mean, they don't have any answers for Giannis. They don't, they match up well against Boston though. They battle against both. They match up well against Boston.
My order would be Boston, Brooklyn, and then the Bucks, just because I feel like the Bucks are too structured.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's a chance of some type of turmoil or some type of something going wrong with the Nets that we could, you know what I mean? We could squeak one out. And I just feel like that would be great for the city, just in general.
I mean that would.
You know
that
what I
would
mean?
be great.
So,
So that would be great.
You know what I mean? And I'll get a chance to go to two games, a home and away. Yeah.
And then look, B Baller said, why stop there? Why not go for number 1 seed in the West? I mean, what's so crazy about wanting the 5th seed, though? You know what I'm saying? The Knicks are 3 games behind Philadelphia right now. I don't see what's so crazy about actually saying, you know what? Maybe we are good enough. Maybe Philadelphia isn't as good as we thought they would be. How about that? You know what I'm saying? And so maybe it is possible that the Knicks could, maybe the 5th seed is going to be 6 or 7 games over 500 when it's all said and done. Who knows? And maybe the Knicks could be 6 or 7 games over 500. Just saying, if we're talking about playoffs, we're actually talking about there, I would like to get the 5th seed instead of the 6th seed. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? And it's a battle. No doubt about it. It's a battle. But if you want to advance in the playoffs, you want to get the easiest route to pass. You know what I mean?
Seen Shuttle in the chat, so I just want to say happy birthday again to and all aboard.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to DJ Shuttle, man. Happy birthday to you, brother. The Knicks tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we talked about it in the game preview that the Knicks would have to dominate on the glass to win. They did so. 47 rebounds from the Knicks, 38 for the Spurs. In the last game, the Knicks were out-rebounded 48-38. So that's a big turnaround, even without Mitchell Robinson playing a ton of minutes tonight. You know what I mean? So that's a definite turnaround from the Knicks on the glass. Only 16 assists for the Knicks. There was a lot of one-on-one play. Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle tonight took 27, 28 shots or something like that. And of course, with RJ being out, there's going to be more shots to go around. And, Randle, he took 26 shots tonight. Jalen Brunson took 27 shots tonight. The next person is Emmanuel Quickly with 13. When RJ gets back, I think those numbers will go back down to being 17, 18 shots per game. I don't think either one of those guys are going to continue to shoot 26 and 27 shots per game. You know what I mean? But it was an ISO-heavy game tonight, especially with Jalen Brunson being hot. He dropped 38 points, career high for Jalen Brunson. And then Julius Randle wasn't really hot tonight, but still was doing his thing. Only 16 assists though for the Knicks. Seven steals for the Knicks, 5 for the Spurs, 6 blocks for the Knicks tonight. Last game, I think the Knicks only had 2 blocks. Only 12 turnovers for the Knicks. They shot 47.9% from the field. The Spurs shot 50% from the field. 39.3% from the three-point line for the Spurs. 32.3% from the three-point line for the Knicks. The Spurs, 80% from the free throw line. The Knicks, 65.4% from the free throw line. The Knicks, 52 points in the paint. The Spurs, 46. 25 second chance points for the Knicks, 8 for the Spurs. And the Knicks with 5 fast break points and the Spurs with 4 fast break points. You can look at the rebounding and the second chance points. It tells you a big story about the game. Obviously, it was a close game, 117 to 114. The Knicks didn't, they shot well from the field, but they didn't shoot well from 3, while the Spurs, they shot well from both the field and from 3. But the Knicks, they made 45 shots. The Spurs only made 41. The Knicks, 10 for 31 from the three-point line. The Spurs, 11 for 28. The Spurs don't shoot a ton of three-pointers. Well, if Devin Vassell was there, you probably add another 5 or 6 to that attempt total. But there's, your difference right there. As far as, the Knicks winning the game. The Knicks only made 17 free throws, 21 for the San Antonio Spurs. But I'm glad the Knicks won that rebounding battle. I don't like it when they get out-rebounded. They shouldn't. They got too many guys that can rebound the ball. Too many guys. We were just harping praises, I think, last night, Tony, about Mitchell Robinson. You know what I mean? Just talking about how Mitchell Robinson doesn't always get, he doesn't get I don't want to say he doesn't get the respect, but he doesn't get celebrated as much as everyone else. But he's a big part of the Knicks being able to win basketball games. Didn't have a good performance tonight against the Spurs. Didn't have a good performance last time against the Spurs. Is it just the Spurs? Or what's the issues with the Spurs?
I think it's a couple of things. I think part of it is Purdue is a pretty good center, pretty mobile and pretty versatile. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if granted, this is 2 games in a short period of time, but I don't know if he's like on Mitchell Robinson's radar. What I've noticed though is he's trying to defend a lot more on the perimeter, like guard. When I say guard, like point guard, shooting guard, like guard style. You know what I mean? Like face up defense, and that's where a lot of his fouls are coming from. You've seen it against Embiid, out on the perimeter. He's just got to stop reaching. To be honest, like somebody in the chat said, he got outplayed. I think he played himself like out the game. You know what I mean? He took himself out the game.
Mm-hmm.
3 fouls, 4 minutes, and then I mean, I don't know how many minutes he had total, but
13 minutes total.
So, yeah. And then you playing with foul trouble the rest of the game, pretty much. Keep picking up one. I mean, it was just a rough outing. I think I was expecting a bounce back game from him tonight, so it's a little disappointing. But I mean, maybe it is the Spurs. Maybe it is.
Yeah, maybe it is. You know what I mean? And it seems like he's always gonna be a guy that has an up and down night, kinda. You know what I mean? Because he's not, he doesn't create his own shot. He's not that kind of player, not that kind of guy. So he's gonna have up and down nights. At least scoring wise, he's gonna have up and down nights. On the boards and defensively, I think we should be able to expect that every night from Mitchell Robinson. But he's got to be in the game in order to do it too. I mean, got to be in the game. Let's take a listen to Tom Thibodeau, ladies and gentlemen, and his thoughts on tonight's game and Jalen Brunson's big night. All right, this is Tom Thibodeau, ladies and gentlemen, with the post-game presser. Let's take a listen.
Is that something you had anticipated, or what did you see with the way they bench played?
It's something because they mix and match a lot, and a lot of those guys, I've coached McDermott. He's a starter that comes off the bench. Richardson is a starter that comes off the bench. So like you have to be, ready for, and they do a good job of getting guys with different groups. So I know that, like, they're hard to guard. They move well without the ball. They play unselfishly. Their big guys are great with screens and dribble handoffs. And so I liked our defense to start, but I didn't like it after the first period.
What did you think of your defense in the last 4 minutes?
Like, I thought we lost. I liked the rebounding. That was a big thing. I knew because of Vassell being out and Langford being in. Langford is a big wing that goes after the ball, and Sohan, same thing, and so Keldon Johnson, same thing. And then when you add in, Partle, the rebounding is going to be huge. And because of what they can do off the dribble, if you come off the body, now their bigs are going to rim, their wings are going, they rebound. Their rebounding was a big concern for me. And then when you go to the bench, the same thing. Collins going to the board, and so keeping the ball in front and then getting back to bodies, we knew that would be a big test for us. And the difference in the game was probably the rebounding. And so our offensive rebounding really helped us, but we're going to have to do a lot better on the road.
You get Jalen not only career high 38, but it seemed like every big one down the stretch. Just you talk about him giving you what you need when you need it.
Yeah, and that was he had it going pretty good, and they had a lot of versatility with the way they can switch. And I thought he made really good reads, and he got into the paint, and he did a lot of stuff that we needed. We just needed to find a way to win the game, and sometimes you have to win games different ways. And we've been winning with our defense and our rebounding, and tonight it was really the offensive rebounding. But the bottom line is getting the win. We just got to scratch wins out, get a look at the film, get ready. We know how good Toronto is. We got to be ready for them. It's the same thing. It'll be a physical game.
Tom, they only scored 5 points in the last 4-21. What did you think of what you guys do differently in the last few minutes defensively?
Well, usually the fourth quarter is different in terms of intensity, and then you could ratchet that up even more in the last 5 minutes. So I think more awareness, more urgency. Some of it, they missed some shots, but we don't want to pick and choose. We want there to be a consistency to the defense. So, and sometimes you can play defense really well, and they raise up and they make. And so I want to take a look at the film, and we knew going in the ways in which we would be tested. We knew they would come with urgency, and so we got to do better.
When you guys forced that violation, 5-second violation, in that situation, do you always put somebody on the inbound?
Sometimes we do. Most of the time we do, yeah. And there's different. Sometimes depending on time, you might put more size, on the inbounder. Sometimes you might just cover the 3-point line. Sometimes if you're out of timeouts, you might put 2 bigs on the ball so they can't see over, and triangle behind it and try to pop one loose. So there's, each situation is different.
Yeah, Deuce and Jericho out there for that play. What went well for you guys to execute there?
Yeah, just, and again, same thing. So you know what they need, and then you got to make sure you're tied together and you're communicating and you have awareness, and you have to be the more ready team when the ball's being inbounded. So what's going on? What are they trying to get to? Your awareness, anticipation, communication. What are we switching? What are we not switching? And then have the discipline not to foul.
Three of your better free throw shooters, Jalen, Julius, and Evan at the end there, missed free throws. I think you missed 11 or 12 free throws tonight. What are you looking at to see? Is it form? Is it? What do you think?
Yeah, a compilation, of everything. As long as they shoot them good, they're not going to make every one, and so shoot it good. our guys do put a lot of time into their shooting, whether it's the three, whether it's finishing, free throws. So it's something they work on all the time. Just shoot it well. If you shoot, as long as you shoot it well, you know, sometimes you're going to miss, but more often than not, you'll make. So get up there and make.
On the final, when you're down, when you're up by 3 on a final possession like that, how do you decide whether you want to foul or not?
Yeah, so and that's it's something that you talk about. So there's situations, there's time and score when you're going to use the foul and when you're not going to use the foul. But then you also have to have an awareness as to how the ball is caught. So if a guy's in the scoring area, in the three-point area, and he's facing the basket, you don't want to take the risk of him going into the shooting motion and then you wrap him up. So ideally, it's more like as he's running to the ball, using it where his back is to the basket, right, and take the foul there, or deep in the backcourt as he's bringing it up on the dribble.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Tom Thibodeau. I want to ask this because I'm just really concerned about the bench. He talked about the San Antonio Spurs, right? Doug McDermott is a starter that comes off the bench. Josh Richardson, a starter that comes off the bench. I think the only guy we can say that about with the Knicks is maybe Emmanuel Quickley, right? As far as there being a starter that comes off the bench. We used to think Derrick Rose was that guy, but then, he came out of the lineup. I think people thought if Evan Fournier went to the bench, he would be a starter that is coming off the bench. Did the motion of Evan Fournier to being situational, does that mean he can no longer start in this league? Clearly he doesn't think Cam is a starter that comes off the bench.
Sometimes I think Tibbs says whatever he got to say to get past the situation at hand. Because think about it. With Kemba, he said he's a starter.
He said
so
he's a starter.
It's disrespectful to have him play bench minutes, so he has to be situational. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way he said he justified him going from starter straight into the situational role.
Right.
And I assumed Fournier didn't go straight to situational, did he?
No, he went to the bench first.
He went to the bench first. Right. So like he slowly got demoted. But so maybe that's where he feels like Fournier is a bench guy that can start. You know what I mean? Maybe he looks at it that way.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. We got to do something with the bench, man. Who knows how long? Okay, we haven't heard any kind of update about Obi.
No. He was good to go today. But
okay. I didn't see the last report. All right.
Yeah. He was good to go they said it during the game. Like he was able to play, like seeing him jumping around, dunking, you know what I mean, working out, whatever. But Tibbs, he wants the full practice, the 5-on-5, the contact, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Before he's gonna allow you to
Right.
So Tibbs actually, I don't even know if it was a clip or a quote, but basically Tibbs said he's situational until he gets his 5-on-5, his practice. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, if he's at that point, that's good. If he's at that point, so I'm looking at the final.
Absolutely.
At the final, actually, Derrick Rose was available tonight, and Obi was available, and Derrick Rose, they were both available tonight. Right, so maybe with Obi, it's going to be like we said. I think maybe it was last night when we would, on the Zach LaVine show, that with Obi, Tibbs was going to want him to get in shape before he gets back out there on the floor. So hopefully he'll be returning soon. You know what I mean? Hopefully he'll be returning soon. Before we finish out, and talk a little bit about Toronto and that game there, let's hear from Quentin Grimes and, see what he thinks about tonight's win over the San Antonio Spurs. This is Quentin Grimes.
Room with Quentin Grimes. Quentin, you knew that ball was going to Keldon Johnson at the end. Walk me through that last defensive possession.
Yeah, we had about three and a half seconds on the clock. Drew and Jalen kind of had a little miscommunication, both double team Trey. And I seen Keldon was wide open. I had to make a decision to go out there 3-3. It was tied, so I had to make sure I go out there and get my hard closeout and kind of force a little turnover, a shot clock violation.
With all of the film study that you've done, did you see that play coming before you saw it?
Yeah, we actually went over two of them and walked through this morning, so we knew they had another one that they kind of ran before that. Then they ran that one to try to get an open three. So we knew we had to be, I think everybody was on the same page, and so we kind of went out there. We kind of tired of people hitting game winners on us, so we had to go out there and close this one out and get to execute tonight.
The rebound differential was a big factor in this game tonight. How much of a focus was that heading into this one?
Yeah, it was a big one. We know they kind of out-rebounded us by a lot down there, so that was the main focus coming in here. We knew it was going to be a physical game. They're a hard, scrappy team. They're going to compete every possession, so we had to go out there and just kind of win the game with our hustle plays, really.
Yeah, I like to hear that, in the walkthrough, they talked about certain plays and walk through and went over certain plays that the San Antonio Spurs do. At the end. Because a lot of people wonder, if the Knicks do things like that. But, it's nice to hear that they did it. And obviously it worked, Obviously it worked. So the Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, beat the Spurs 117-114 in a game that was tighter than I think any of us wanted it to be or expected it to be. I thought that the first half, the Knicks, it was going to be kind of tight, and then they would finally pull away and get some separation. They never got separated from the San Antonio Spurs. It remained a tight game. But Tony, the Knicks take on the Toronto Raptors, and you can double back and say something. The Knicks take on the Toronto Raptors in the next game. What's your thoughts on that game? Go ahead and say what you were going to say, and then your thoughts on that game.
The Spurs just fought hard at the end. To be honest, you know what I mean. Like let's keep it 100. Like the Knicks kind of lost the fight a little bit before Brunson said, "Nah." Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, they can't do that. You know what I mean? They definitely can't do that moving forward against Toronto. I don't like this team. I don't like the matchup. I didn't like the strategy during the game. The lack of size put on them. The lack of double teams with Siakam. Mm-hmm. I do want to see double teams. I do admit, the Queen was right. Maybe not out the gate. Let's see if he's off. Maybe he's having an off night, and you don't have to implement it as frequently. But if he hit 2 in a row, that's it. You know what I mean? That's it. You know what I mean? Like, you guys start strategizing now, and early, because by the end of the game, he knew what to do to either get to the line or get a basket.
Yeah. My bad. I'm looking in the chat, and dudes are talking about Quentin Grimes talking fast.
Oh, that's tough.
Jay Beckner, he said, Grimes be talking mad fast. And then Pudge Nice said he talks like he plays.
Oh, wow. That's funny.
He does talk
That's
fast,
funny.
Bro.
Spurt. Oh, I got one too for you. It wasn't about Grimes.
I'll put that back up there. We got to trade Cam for a 6'8" guy who can shoot and defend. We need one. Yeah.
The very next comment is, that's Cam.
Right.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, the Knicks, Pascal Siakam, what he had, 52? 52 points against us at the Garden. And the Knicks had trouble with him all night long. They couldn't keep him off the line. No one could no one could defend that guy. I'm hopeful that it's not going to be the same way. And the thing about the Raptors, is defensively, like, all of the players got so much length. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to penetrate. I know that all that in the same sentence don't sound good, right? It don't sound good. So, we talking basketball terms, though, ladies and gentlemen. All right, talking basketball terms. It's hard to get to the basket. You know what I mean? When they, if you do get to the basket and they kick it out, they can close out. They play scrappy. They play physical.
Passing lanes.
They play the passing lanes. They're a high IQ basketball team. They're a tough team to deal with for the Knicks, and they match up well with the Knicks. Tough team
We
to deal
have
with.
to find the advantages and attack them all game long. Like that's literally what they did to us all game long, and we have advantages. You know what I mean? We're gonna have to figure out how to space the floor for one, because I think that was part of our offensive problem that particular game.
Mm-hmm.
The spacing was bad. Randall needs space to utilize his strength and his skill against those guys. And the same with Brunson. You know what I mean? Because both Brunson undersized for his position, Randall undersized for his position.
Right.
Grimes arguably, undersized or maybe like average for his position. So the only height advantage we have is Mitchell Robinson.
Right.
Unless we again utilize the 6'8" guy we got.
Yeah. And I don't think that's happening.
I don't either.
Think that's happening now. If
this is going to be a good way for us to monitor how Tibbs adjusts.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Now, let me see, when do they play? Is it Friday?
Friday at 7:30.
Friday at 7:30. Yeah. I doubt Obi's going to get any practices in by that time. I don't think. Now, here's the question, because we asked the question earlier, a couple streams ago, I think before the Phoenix game. Who would be? I think. Well, I'm not sure if you were on there. Maybe it was me, Steph, and Andy. We asked who would play, Derrick Rose or Evan Fournier. Right. But then Derrick Rose was out against Phoenix, so Evan Fournier had to play. He came back tonight. I guess he was available. Evan Fournier still played. Do you still have, now that Derrick Rose is available, do you still have Evan Fournier getting the minutes over Derrick Rose?
I don't. I mean, no, I do, especially for Toronto, in particular. And I say that because I don't, no disrespect. I say everything respectfully. I think Fournier gives us more of an advantage with his strengths than Derrick Rose. And I don't want to say with his strengths, because I just feel like Derrick Rose is not at his peak yet, or like you said, maybe he lost another step. You know what I mean? I'm not sure. I'm more on the side that he hasn't been playing a lot of minutes. He's been in and out the rotation. He's just not. He hasn't found his groove yet.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping that's it. But
I'm hoping that's
something's just been amiss with him. You know what I mean? Something's just been amiss. He started.
It didn't
off,
seem like that the first couple of games though, like the first 5 or 10 games.
Right. It seemed like he was there. You know what I mean? And then somewhere along the line, it maybe with his minutes dwindling, because from the beginning of the season, even in like the preseason press conferences and media days and stuff, there were little hints about, you heard him, I still want to play, and things like that. And so there must have been some conversations going on about the amount of minutes that he was going to play. And then as the season went on and, he went from 12, maybe 15, 16 minutes to 12 minutes. And then you started hearing, well, you started hearing him not be confrontational or mad, but kind of say, Tibbs wants to try out this. So, I'm not going to be here to argue or mad. I'm going to let him do his thing, Start hearing these things.
And carry on the vets and the youngins and teach him. Like he's always said all the right things. Yeah. Some things even beyond like the right thing. You know what I mean? Like you could tell it's genuine. It ain't staged.
And then even when Deuce was inserted into the lineup, he was like, Tibbs said he wants to try see what's going on with Deuce. But he's not gonna be and he's not gonna argue and all of that stuff. But maybe still somewhere inside he's like, I want to be on. I'm not used to this. I'm used to when I'm on a team, I'm playing 20 minutes at least. You know what I'm saying, or something like that. Now I'm not getting any burn at all. That'll make a person question, all right, is this it for me? Like all of that type of stuff. And so now when you're on the floor, you're a little fluttery. You know what I mean? You're not as confident, stuff like that. And, maybe this is what it is with him right now.
And remember we talked about the whole Randall thing. I pointed it out the next game. You was like, oh, Tone, I seen it in the following game, that whatever was going on between him and Randall. With all the things you just mentioned and where Rose is in his career, he may really be thinking about beyond basketball, how unimportant basketball actually is in the grand schemes of things, especially where he is. So that could be some of the disconnect on the court. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like not intentionally, you know what I mean? But when you start thinking about those things, it starts manifesting in your day-to-day, on your play, in your, workouts, everything.
Yeah, I've seen some interviews where he said right now he's playing for his son. I've seen some interviews where he said that, he's playing because, his son, gets the privilege of being around, being there, and, doing those things, and he knows his son is interested in basketball, and I tried to take it not that he meant he didn't care about basketball anymore. He's not putting in the work. I still think he's putting in the work. But what you're saying is how I took it. Like these things are becoming more prevalent in his life. You know what I mean? And these things are more important. So maybe there is, maybe that's something that's just kind of amiss with him, as far as playing and performing.
Yeah.
If you listen to, he did an interview, David, I think who is it that's doing those interviews? There's someone doing the interviews on it, on the MSG network, doing the little short interviews with all the players. Is it David Aldridge?
Yeah, him.
Yeah, David Aldridge. He did one with David Aldridge, and I think he mentioned something like that in that interview as well. But I've seen some other ones where he said the same thing, talked about playing for his son so his son could be, around basketball and stuff like that. So, that's something to look at and think about, that maybe he's in his mind, he's still going to play and he still wants to be part of a team, but getting on the court is not his main objective, maybe. Although in the beginning of the season, he said he wanted to play.
I wouldn't even say that it's not his main objective, but it's kind of out of his control. You know what I mean? I think it's just a tough situation to deal with mentally. You know what I mean? Because you want to play, you feel like you still got some things to prove.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Coming from where you started, what you've been through, where you at, you know what I mean? I think the best thing about it is he's had a long, successful career, redemption, everything you could kind of ask for, except for a ring.
Right.
So I think he's gonna. I think he's honest in being receptive to, being the mentor, just being around him.
Yeah.
But it's tough to do that and stay ready. You know what I mean?
No doubt. And keep your mind ready and sharp to get out on the floor and be able to produce.
I think it may be a little bit easier. He's a little bit younger. He probably has a lot more fire and desire, to play and what I could prove and what, you know what I mean? And he's a shooter. Like that doesn't just go away, even though you gotta get in rhythm. You gotta be in rhythm. I will acknowledge that. But it's easier for a shooter.
And he's in the part of his career where, he's not looking at, he knows he's going to go someplace else and get a spot on some team somewhere at some point, right? Derrick Rose might be looking like, this might be my career is dwindling down. You know what I mean?
And God forbid, he doesn't get a place in the league. He knows he could go home and play.
Right.
like he can go back to France and play.
Exactly.
So
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
and probably be the guy, like
and probably so. You know what I mean? He'd probably be the guy. Yeah, I don't know if, with Derrick Rose this year, we're gonna get, what we thought. And it's probably the reason why the front office is looking and saying, okay, Derrick Rose, maybe they're thinking Derrick Rose doesn't have it. We need to get a guy in here that can give us that production off the bench now. So anyway, man, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you check out those tickets for the Knicks versus the Washington Wizards in Washington, D.C. on January 13th. There's a link pinned to your YouTube chat. There's also a link in the description of the video. Also, for Martin Luther King's Day, those tickets are available. So go check those out as well. There's a link like I said, the link is in the description and it's pinned to the top of your YouTube chat. All right. The Knicks take on the Raptors on Friday. Hopefully, we got a conference game. I got a conference game tomorrow, but I'm going to try to get on during the day, just to do a little shoot around show and talk some more stuff about the Knicks. But I'll definitely be on for the game preview on Friday and then post game show on Friday. If I don't do something tomorrow during the day, then maybe it'll be in the evening after the game. If I'm not disgruntled after the game, you know what I mean? Because we lost. Hopefully we go out and we get the win. And Geraldine, she asked earlier, I didn't get a chance to answer the question. She asked, how we're doing so far this year. We're 3-5 on the season. We've played some teams that are really, really good, like kind of above our level, because we're trying to get to that level. So we played some teams above our level and actually did pretty well. And then it's been kind of like feast or famine for us, right? We're either playing a team that's above our level and losing to them by anywhere between 10 and 15 points, or playing against a team that is not on our level and blowing them out by 40-something points. Like last night. Was it last night? Yeah, last night we played a game and we won 58-11. You know what I mean? But now we're starting conference play and games are going to be a little bit more tight. But, playing against those teams that are above us, we're hoping that it helped to increase our crispiness, our sharpness, and overall level of play. So we'll see as we start getting into our conference play. We got two teams that we're really worried about. The other two teams, we're going to wipe them up. We got two teams we're really worried about in our conference. So we'll see how that goes. We start tomorrow. Yep. So there it is. You know what I mean? Tony, anything you want to add before we get out of here?
Just wanted to respond to this gentleman. This says Tony. The reason we don't start Fournier because his defense next to Brunson is too weak. I'm only referring to why RJ's out, and so Quickly's not depleting the bench scoring output while he's in the starting unit. So that's the only argument I have for that. So Grimes would still be next to them. It would be substituting Quickly for Fournier while RJ's out.
Yeah.
That's all I want to clarify. But yeah, right. Shout out to the chat. Yo Black, it's time. Sim, it's always a pleasure to join you. And
yeah, no doubt. And make sure tomorrow morning at 9:15, Steph will be doing her morning recap show on Dope Soul Sports Talk. So make sure you check that out, ladies and gentlemen. That's at 9:15. If you're not subscribed, make sure you just go into YouTube and type in Dope Soul and subscribe to the channel. All right, check her out tomorrow morning, 9:15. Other than that, I'm out of here. I appreciate you guys' time. Knicks get the win tonight. 3 in a row, ladies and gentlemen. They're back to the 6th spot in the Eastern Conference. Let's see if they can keep it there. We out. Peace.
This is NBK. Nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sob like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.